Brethren, what is this commandment? What commandment does he want us to keep? It's very important. But whosoever keepeth his word, in him verily is the love of God perfected. Hereby we know that we are in him. He that saith he abideth in him, ought himself also to walk, even as he walks. So this is very simple. It's like, understand this. What he's trying to say, you're saying that you're a Christian, that you believe in Jesus Christ, and that you abide in Jesus Christ, but you are living in sin, and you are committing acts of sin. He's saying, no, he that saith he abideth in him, ought himself also to walk, even as he walked. Like we in chapter 3 said, in him is no sin. Christ does not commit sin. Christ is God, and God is holy, and he cannot commit sin. So a person says he abides in Christ, but he is committing sin. Does that mean that Christ is committing sin through him? Of course not. That means the person is not abiding in Jesus Christ. If he was abiding in Jesus Christ, he would not be committing sin. The Apostle Paul said, this I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary to one to another, that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. So a person who does good works, because he is led of the Spirit, is not under the law. The Spirit is directing him, and the Spirit is living inside of him. But we need to walk in the Spirit. If we walk in the Spirit, we will not fulfill the lust of the flesh. But why are we fulfilling the lust of the flesh? Because we are not walking in the Spirit. The Spirit is Christ. God sent the Spirit of His Son inside of us, and Christ lives inside of us, and we need to walk in the Spirit. And when we walk in the Spirit, we won't commit sin. That's what He's saying. He that saith he abideth in Him, ought himself also to walk, even as he walked. He's saying Christ abides in me, and Christ lives inside of me, but I'm committing sin? No, Christ does not commit sin. And if we abide in Christ, He will direct us and lead us into holiness. And what is this commandment that He wants us to keep? It's very important. Brethren, I write no new commandment unto you, but an old commandment which you have heard from the beginning. The old commandment is the word which you have heard from the beginning. So he's saying, I'm not giving you guys a new commandment. I am retelling you the old commandment. And the old commandment is actually the word that you have heard from the very beginning. And what is this word? In chapter 3 he says, this is the message that we have heard from the beginning, that we should love one another. So the message that John is trying to tell us is that we need to love one another. But what does it mean? What does loving one another actually mean? Does it mean just to have good feelings and good emotions towards another? No. The Apostle Paul says in Romans 13, he says, owe no man anything but to love another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. And then he says that the commandments themselves shall be fulfilled by love. He says, love doeth no ill to its neighbor, therefore love is the fulfillment of the law. But if you are doing ill to your neighbor, and if you are breaking the law, and you are committing sin against your neighbor, you are not loving your brother. What are you doing? You are hating your brother. You are expressing hatred towards your neighbor, towards your brother, through your sinful actions. In John chapter 3 he says this, by this we know who are the children of God and the children of the devil. Whosoever doeth not righteousness is not of God, neither he that loveth not his brother. So he says a person who doesn't do righteous things and doesn't love the brother, he brings them together. He says a person who doesn't do righteousness and a person who doesn't love his brother, these are not of God. So he brings doing righteous acts and loving your brother, he brings them together, and he says these are the same things. When we do righteous acts, we love our brother. When we commit sin, we are expressing hatred towards our brother, towards our neighbor, through our sinful actions.